Mal besser machen bei dem Punkt. I will switch into English because John Stewart is here in the house. You might know him from Fphresh, the watch production from Stuttgart. He will do his talk in English, and we will also do the part of the questioning panel in English as well. We will talk about why Fphresh failed, what we learned from it, and what he's doing now. So thanks for being here. Thanks for talking to us. Say hello to John.
Well, though she took my opening, but
Sorry.
but just to repeat, yes, my name is John. I'm American, and about 3 years ago, I started a company in Stuttgart, a watch company named Fphresh, People and Humanity. Yeah, it was amazing. We sold watches, as she said, and what we also did was use the money to build schools and fund schools, and so far we funded schools in 3 countries. But I suppose the best way for me to tell and just to give some value out of my story, considering this is actually still very fresh for me, is just to tell it from the beginning, you know. So 3 years ago, I was finishing university, and I was traveling and studying while traveling, and I finished university here in well, not here, but in Stuttgart, and I was also working at Pizza Hut at the time, as well as working at Celesio Pharmaceuticals as a junior consultant. Celesio was for the name, Pizza Hut was for my visa, and studying was just because I wanted a degree. When I graduated, I decided to, well, I really would like to clear my mind. I really didn't like the corporate lifestyle in a large firm. I obviously didn't want to stay at Pizza Hut. I didn't see that as a really career path I would like to take. So what I decided to do was walk across the Black Forest. And so I got up one day and I took a train excuse me, to Pforzheim, and decided to walk from Pforzheim to Basel, Switzerland. It took about 12 days, and it was amazing. Obviously it cleared my head, and by the end of it, I knew what I wanted to do. I was like, I'm going to start a company. And that's when my great idea came. I'm going to throw parties in Stuttgart, and the watches would be the special secret entry card to my parties. So, yeah, I'm planning it, building a website, trying to make some connections. I get these watches in, and the first ones were blue. So I have the watch on, and I'm planning, trying to make these parties, and nobody gave a shit. But the question that I kept getting was, that's a really weird, funky blue watch you have. Are you selling those? And about the 5th time someone asked me, I'm like, yes, yeah, I'm selling them. They'll be here in a few months. That's when I met my then partner. His name was Josh, another American. He was living in Munich. I'm not a designer. I don't have a design background, and he did. We met through a connected friend, and it worked really well. We came out with our first designs, and we were really trying to use the lean methodology. And yeah, we got these watches in, and they were okay, but we're like, whatever, we'll sell them anyway. Well, here's the cool thing about starting a company in Germany. Because when you start a company in Germany, Germans are technical, right? And they really love their quality. So, our first watches, we had a seam like going down the watch in the middle of the watch. And I swear every person pointed this seam out. I'm like, yeah, but it's just the seam, you know, like you can get over it, right? You know. But we realized that we quickly needed to change our product, so we updated the product and came out with the watch I'm actually wearing now. And that one actually took off. People could mix and match them, and people really loved them. When I discussed with Josh, when I first met him, I said, hey, most likely your company is going to fail. I mean, it's quite obvious. We're both non-native speakers. never ran a watch company or worked in one before. and I mean, it's our first try, and statistically, we are supposed to fail. That's obvious. So that's actually where us doing good, as people say, came into the company's mindset. I realized the company was going to fail eventually, most likely. And I said, along the way, what if we can just do good and actually make a change along our path to failing? And Josh was on with it. He was like, cool, let's do this, man. We were designing. It was great. Things are running. We started. We got to our first Christmas, and it was amazing. And then I go on vacation, and Josh was supposed to watch the company for me. Well, what happened is, it scared the shit out of him when he saw what I had to deal with paperwork-wise every day. We had a shipment of watches actually coming in from China, and it's really hard to get product in from China to Germany. There's a lot of paperwork you need to fill out, and it just freaked him out. So my plane landed, I get to New York, and I turn on my phone, and there's like 20 messages, 50 missed calls, and he's freaking out. And by the time I got back, he realized, like, hey, I will help you out, man, but I'm no founder. Like, that's not what I want to do. And obviously it hurt me, and that was really, really a scary moment in my life. This was about a year into the company. And I had one realization that, hey, if I'm going to continue taking this forward, I really am understanding the processes more now. But I definitely need someone who's a native from here, speaks the language, understands the people. So that's when I found my second partner, a very bright individual, studying his master's degree, and at this time I was an entrepreneur in residence at a company in Stuttgart, and this guy was actually sitting in the same room with me. I saw he was smart, and I was like, I need this guy on my team. So we got together, we started taking it further. We went to Fashion Week, we connected with new projects. The first project was in Tanzania. Then we connected with a new project in Peru. Things are really, really going. But when you start a company, you really want to make sure that the goals of your founders align with, you know, each other. You want to make sure that you're on the same page. And, you know, I gave him the same speech that I gave Josh, which was, hey, you know, most likely we're going to fail, but along the way we're going to do some good, and probably going to give away most of our money. You okay with that? Yes.
Okay.
And so I know it doesn't sound really much like a business model, but but I never actually expected it to run as long as it did, running for 3 years. I never actually expected that. I mean, it's a, you know, it's a watch, and when you're in it, you will always hear certain things. You know, is your true potential in a watch? You know, can't you do much more? And for some people, that does weigh down on them. I mean, the goal was to build a big company and to take over the world, right, with a watch. So what we did, you know, I really wanted to be smart about this. So we partnered with the CEO of a fashion label. We got some really bright guys in that have built companies before and scaled them to probably more than my company will ever have been worth. And then we also partnered with a distributor. So we had the trifecta of like perfect partnerships. And it was my job as the CEO to make sure that, for one, the communication was flowing smoothly, and obviously to drive our team to a success. And along the way, you do get distracted sometimes. So the second Christmas, we actually did a tour of Germany selling, and it was the most successful we had ever been. And through this success, somehow, we came back on January 6th and had a meeting with our advisors, who are also supporting us a little bit monetarily. And we said, hey, we have another great idea, and they're all excited, you know? They really want to hear what we learned selling across the country. And we wanted to change the company completely, which was like, what? You know? And after our meeting, even I walked out like, what? You know? But so when you're in your journey, definitely stay focused. Do keep your eyes open, for other opportunities, but make sure you're staying on the right path. So after that meeting, whatever, I think our issue and our problem was we were selling a plastic watch made in Germany, which most of your clothes, made in China, excuse me. Most of your clothes right now are probably not made in Germany. And I don't know why we had such a problem with that. We knew our factory was certified. We knew the working conditions of the workers, but I just did. So I wanted to change it and basically just screw everything up. So we decided that we're going to make a watch in Germany now. And we did a crowdfunding campaign, which was successful. Towards the end of the crowdfunding campaign, I started getting the feeling, I didn't get the feeling, he told me that his heart just wasn't in it, to continue going with the firm. And I said, hey, wait it out, we have up and downs, and we'll get there and just try to pull it out, man. We have a successful campaign. We have everything set up. We have the manufacturers of the wristbands, which were really something cool. Had never been made the way that we were making them. A new watch face manufacturer in Germany. And then about 2 weeks after the campaign, no wristband manufacturer, no watch face manufacturer, and we owe 140 something watches to people. So obviously at this time, he really gets scared and he decides to leave. But not only does he decide to leave, he needs to be paid for his shares to leave. Even though I started the company and had it over a year before, he came aboard. But again, that's a lesson that I learned. Definitely get it all in writing and make sure that you have a really, really clear understanding from the beginning. So anyway, he leaves, and on one side, I'm in a battle with shares and money. And remember, the company's giving away all this profit to orphan kids, and I couldn't not support my charity. That's why I started doing it. And so basically what I did was make the radical American great idea move and funded my school entirely, and shit, there's no money. What now? And he called my bluff because my visa was attached to the company. What else was I going to do? My girl was in Germany, so obviously I have to give in and I have to pay him, right? On one side, maybe. On the other side, not, because the goal wasn't to get rich, especially right away, not within the first 2 to 3 years. And maybe that's just my pride speaking, that I really wanted to not pay somebody we're not there yet. If we're at $1 million in the bank, we can argue a little bit about money, but we were not there. We were actually talking with investors during this time. So obviously that stopped. And basically what I've learned out of this is, number one is people. So make sure you're surrounding yourself with the right people from day one. That includes hiring with your employees, everything like that. People is the most important part to be started, because your idea can change, your product can change. The ideas are all shit. It's all about the implementation. So people, number one most important thing you got. Number two, you need to have a good product. Not really. If you implement selling spray can of poop, and if you implement it well, I'm sure you can still make a lot of money. But still, you should have a good product. The third thing is process. That's what I learned at the very end. The process, and excuse my language, but it's fucked up night. It was fucked up. My process at the end, when I lost my manufacturers and I had no backup, that was my fault. So I ended my company. At the time, owning 140 watches, I made sure to get every single person their product with no money, and obviously I was no longer taking a salary from the company while still working really hard, trying to make sure all this gets done. Do I regret anything? Not really. to be honest, I'm working at a great startup now, and I wouldn't have that opportunity if I hadn't had all the lessons that I learned by doing Fresh. So all I gotta say is things will change, your ideas will change, but the number one thing, get the right people. All right? Thank you guys.